If you handed me exactly 90 days and asked me to help a woman finally get rid of stubborn belly fat, here's precisely what I would do, and it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s with a predictable cycle, navigating perimenopause in your 40s, or fully postmenopausal and feeling like your body suddenly changed its own rulebook. This protocol was built to work across all three stages. I know it works because I've watched hundreds of clients finally break through that stubborn fat that wouldn't budge. Isabel and Liz in their 20s, Sandra and Ashley in their 30s, Trish and Annabelle in their 40s, Kathy in her 50s, even my own mother in her 60s. I'm Michael Diamonds, a licensed physician, a scientist, and a competitive natural bodybuilder, and today I'm walking you through a complete month-by-month roadmap that rebuilds everything starting from the ground up. No scattered tips pulled from random sources. This is the exact sequence you need to follow to become a genuinely different person in 90 days, so let's get into it. Month 1 is what I call the reset phase, or the foundation phase, because before we burn a single pound of fat, we first need to undo whatever damage has already been done. Here are the most common mistakes I see in women before they ever find their way to me. The first is severe undereating, surviving on 100 or even 100 calories for months at a time. What actually happens here is that your body responds by slowing down your metabolism, suppressing thyroid output, and driving cortisol levels upward. The second mistake is overdoing cardio, 5 or 6 spin classes a week, constant running, endless high-intensity interval sessions, all built on the belief that more sweat automatically means more fat loss. In reality, excessive cardio floods your system with cortisol, and cortisol has a particular fondness for storing fat directly around your midsection. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Sports Science found that chronic endurance training without proper recovery significantly elevates cortisol, especially in female athletes, and layering excessive cardio on top of insufficient strength training also eats away at muscle tissue, which slows your metabolism down even further. The third mistake is completely ignoring where you actually stand hormonally. A 25-year-old with a regular menstrual cycle is operating on a fundamentally different internal system than a 45-year-old navigating perimenopause or a 55-year-old who's already postmenopausal. Estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone all directly influence where your body stores fat, how quickly you recover, and how efficiently you build muscle. And ignoring those shifts means you're essentially just guessing at a solution rather than actually solving the problem. So month 1 exists purely to reset the system. Let's talk nutrition first. We're starting with only a small 200-calorie deficit below your true maintenance level, and yes, that number sounds almost too small to matter, but trust the process here. This isn't about starvation. It's about signaling to your body that it's genuinely safe to release stored fat rather than cling to it defensively. To figure out your maintenance calories accurately, head over to sculptbescience.com, where I built a precision macro calculator specifically for this purpose. Plug in your numbers and it will tell you exactly where to begin, using a 10% caloric deficit as your starting point. Set your protein target at 1 gram per pound of body weight and treat this as completely non-negotiable. If you weigh 150 pounds, that means 150 grams of protein daily, because protein preserves your muscle tissue, keeps you genuinely full, and requires roughly 6 times more energy for your body to digest compared to carbohydrates or fat. Don't let your fat intake drop below 50 grams either, since your hormones, including the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone I mentioned earlier, depend directly on dietary fat to function properly. Everything remaining goes toward carbohydrates, which fuel your training sessions and keep your energy and overall vitality intact. This particular month centers around hormone, supporting foods specifically, meaning foods that nourish your cycle, your gut health, and your body's stress response. That includes whole eggs and fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines for omega-3 fatty acids, leafy greens for magnesium, berries like blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries for their antioxidant content, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, which support your liver's ability to properly metabolize estrogen. If you're in menopause or already postmenopausal, add ground flaxseed or chia seeds into your diet, since they contain lignans that function as gentle plant-based phytoestrogens. None of these are trendy superfoods. They are strategic tools designed to fuel your body rather than deprive it. Now let's talk about movement. Train 3 times weekly using a full body approach, and I've put together a complete training plan appearing on screen right now, so you have zero excuses to skip this. It's yours completely free. And all I ask in return is a simple thumbs up on this video so more women can discover it. This is genuinely where the transformation begins. A meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine reviewed 58 separate studies and found that resistance training alone reduces body fat percentage by nearly 2% while significantly decreasing visceral fat specifically. It also raises your basal metabolic rate by as much as 15%, since every pound of muscle you build burns between 6 and 10 calories at rest, compared to only 2 or 3 calories burned by fat tissue. Essentially, you're building an internal furnace one coal at a time. Now let's address steps. Aim for 10,000 daily, not 900, a full 10,000. Treat it as your absolute daily standard and completely non-negotiable. Walk while your coffee brews, walk during phone calls, walk after dinner, and let this simply become part of your identity rather than a chore. You might reasonably ask why only 3 training sessions rather than 5, and the answer comes down to protecting your cortisol levels. If you're arriving here already overtrained and undereating, your nervous system is already under significant strain, and adding 5 or 10 sessions immediately would spike cortisol even further, pushing your body deeper into fat preservation mode rather than out of it. 3 sessions, 10,000 steps, and genuine healing space is the formula for this month, and recovery matters just as much as training, which brings us directly into why sleep deserves your full attention next. Sleep is precisely when your body repairs muscle tissue, rebalances hormones, and does its most effective fat-burning work. A 2019 study published through the Sleep Foundation found that women averaging fewer than 6 hours of sleep accumulated significantly more visceral fat over a 5-year span, largely because sleep deprivation spikes cortisol, elevates ghrelin, your hunger hormone, leaving you genuinely ravenous, while simultaneously suppressing leptin, the hormone responsible for signaling fullness, meaning you never quite feel satisfied no matter how much you eat. Aim for a minimum of 7 hours nightly using what I call the 10-3-2-1 method. No caffeine within 10 hours of bedtime, no food within 3 hours of bedtime, no fluids within 2 hours of bedtime, and no screens within the final hour before sleep. Keep your bedroom cool and maintain the same bedtime every single night, weekends included. Here's what you should genuinely expect from this first month, and it's important that you hear this clearly. You may not see the number on the scale move much during month 1, and that's completely fine. That's actually the plan working exactly as intended. What's happening beneath the surface matters far more than any single number, because you're building muscle mass, which is denser than fat tissue, meaning your body fat percentage can drop even while your scale weight stays essentially unchanged. You might gain a pound of muscle while losing a pound of fat, netting out to 0 change on the scale, yet your clothes will start fitting noticeably better, your energy will return, and your sleep quality will improve. Tell me in the comments what's been your biggest struggle so far. Is it the training, the nutrition, sleep, or honestly all three combined? For the next 72 hours, I'll be reading every single comment personally and responding to help however I can. So let me know exactly where you're stuck and what you'd like covered in a future video, because that feedback genuinely shapes what I create next. Now let's move into month 2, which I call the acceleration phase. Your metabolism has been reignited, your internal furnace is actively burning, and now it's time to turn up the intensity. We're dropping calories by another 200, meaning if you started month 1 at a 200 calorie deficit, you're now sitting at 400 calories below maintenance. Say your maintenance came out to 200 calories, you ran month 1 around 200, and now you'll move to roughly 1800. This is genuinely the sweet spot, aggressive enough to produce visible movement on the scale, yet gentle enough to protect both your hormones and your hard-earned muscle. Let me put that 200 calorie reduction into real perspective so it doesn't feel intimidating. It's roughly 3/4 of a cup of cooked white rice, meaning 1 less scoop at dinner, swapped for a larger serving of vegetables, or simply trimming 1 tablespoon of cooking oil alongside a smaller rice portion accomplishes exactly this shift without any dramatic sacrifice. Protein stays fixed at 1 gram per pound of body weight, fat remains at 50 grams, and you're simply trimming slightly from your carbohydrate intake while continuing to eat those same hormone-supporting foods, the salmon, the eggs, the cruciferous vegetables, the leafy greens, since they're still actively working in your favor. In terms of movement, add a 4th training day this month, splitting your routine into upper and lower body sessions. Monday upper, Tuesday lower, Wednesday off, Thursday upper, Friday lower. Weekends free or rearranged however fits your schedule best. The critical piece here is progressive overload. If you lifted 15-pound dumbbells last month, you should now be reaching for 17.5 or 20 pounds this month. Push your daily steps from 10,000 up to 12,000, and this is where I want to introduce something I call HIIT, light, or the Japanese walking technique. Here's how it works. Walk briskly for 3 minutes at 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate, a pace where conversation is technically possible but genuinely difficult to sustain. Then slow to a comfortable stroll for another 3 minutes, repeating this cycle 5 times total. Research out of Shinju University demonstrated that this specific technique can boost VO2 max by 10 to 15% within just 4 to 5 months, and VO2 max isn't merely a fitness statistic. It ranks among the strongest known predictors of overall lifespan. This same technique also improves blood sugar regulation, particularly valuable for anyone managing type 2 diabetes, and has been shown to shrink waist circumference by up to 2 inches within 5 months alone, meaning you're not just losing fat, you're genuinely adding years onto your life. Perform one of these interval walking sessions daily, letting the remainder of your 12,000 steps come naturally through daily life, parking further from entrances, walking between gym sets, warming up before training. If this Japanese walking technique is new information for you, drop a thumbs up, because very few people online are actually teaching women this specific method. Recovery follows the same principles as before, maintaining 7 hours of sleep nightly, but now we add stress management into the equation, 10 minutes daily of meditation, prayer, or journaling. Whatever genuinely connects you to stillness. When I ask women joining our program whether they're already doing this, the answer is almost always no, and taking this seriously matters more than most people realize. Picture your nervous system as an electrical panel where every unresolved worry or lingering task flips another switch toward fight or flight mode, keeping cortisol elevated and visceral fat specifically contains 4 times more cortisol receptors than the fat on your arms, meaning chronic stress directly feeds belly fat in a self-perpetuating cycle. Meditation and prayer simply flip those switches back off manually, and I always describe meditation as a bench press for the mind, a genuine strength, building exercise just for your nervous system rather than your muscles. By the end of month 2, you should be down roughly 6 to 8 pounds, though the more exciting changes happen elsewhere, clothes fitting differently, that waistband that used to dig in now sitting loose, jeans you haven't worn in 2 years finally back in rotation, alongside noticeably improved energy, mood, and sleep quality. If you'd like guaranteed hands-on support, our female-focused division includes Dr. Angela, Dr. Zeno, and Dr. Savo, an incredible team of women. I genuinely encourage you to book a call with if you want personalized guidance through this entire protocol. If that's not accessible right now, don't worry, keep watching these videos, since I'll continue providing everything you need right here. Everything I'm walking you through, the complete step-by-step version of this system, lives inside our newly launched Sculptor community, built specifically for women over 35, with the link available in the description if you'd like to join, but stay with me, because month 3 is genuinely where the fat starts melting away. Month 3 is what I call the maximizing phase, the true home stretch. You've reset your hormones, ignited your metabolism, and now we push toward the peak, where everything converges and real results accelerate. Nutritionally, calories remain at your month 2 level 400 below maintenance with perhaps an additional 100 calorie adjustment if needed, though we avoid cutting too aggressively since your body is already firmly in fat-burning mode. What actually shifts here is precision, the flexibility you had during month 2, the occasional pizza night or glass of wine, needs to tighten up considerably now. Protein remains fixed at 1 gram per pound, and this matters especially for women over 40 due to something called anabolic resistance, where stimulating muscle growth naturally becomes more difficult with age. A 2016 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that women consuming higher protein during a caloric deficit lost 40% more fat while retaining significantly more muscle compared to those eating standard protein amounts, marking the genuine difference between transforming your body versus simply shrinking it. Aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, spread across 3 or 4 meals daily. For training, push your weights harder, and if you can manage it, add a 5th session without spiking cortisol excessively, keeping rest periods at 60 seconds while continuing to genuinely challenge yourself with heavier loads. Increase your daily steps to 15,000, since 12,000 should feel entirely automatic by now, layered alongside your interval walking sessions. A 2019 study published in JAMA found that women averaging 12,000 daily steps experienced a 65% reduction in premature death compared to women averaging only 4,000 steps, meaning every single step genuinely compounds toward a longer, healthier life. And this is exactly the stage where we push that interval walking training even further. Consider adding a second interval walking session during this final month, since recovery at this stage becomes entirely non-negotiable, and if you've slipped on your sleep habits anywhere along the way, now's the time to fully recommit to them. By day 90, expect to be down somewhere between 12 and 20 pounds of pure fat. Though the scale genuinely won't tell the complete story, look instead at the inches lost from your waistline, the muscle you've built, and energy levels you likely haven't experienced in years. You'll emerge as a stronger, genuinely improved version of yourself, and here's the best part. You accomplished this without starving yourself, building instead a sustainable lifestyle you can realistically maintain long-term. This entire framework, every daily step and exact protocol, lives inside Sculptor for just $97 monthly, cancelable anytime, giving you complete access alongside myself and my full team of doctors, guiding you personally throughout. Now, speaking directly to women over 40 for a moment, You now have this complete 90-day roadmap across 3 distinct phases: foundation, acceleration, and maximizing, and a stronger version of yourself is genuinely waiting on the other side. If you're in your 20s or 30s with a regular cycle, your hormones are naturally working in your favor. So simply follow this plan and results will come steadily. But if you're anywhere between 35 and 55, potentially navigating perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, your estrogen is fluctuating or declining, and estrogen naturally protects against belly fat by directing storage toward your hips and thighs. Once it drops, your body shifts that storage toward your midsection instead. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Menopause confirmed that postmenopausal women accumulate up to 36% more visceral fat than premenopausal women, independent of total body weight. Alongside deteriorating sleep and crashing energy levels, and research shows most women simply weren't given adequate information about menopause before these symptoms began, which genuinely isn't your fault. If you're postmenopausal, every fundamental principle in this protocol still applies, though strength training, protein intake, a controlled deficit, and quality sleep become even more critical. Since the underlying science remains identical, while your margin for error shrinks considerably. If your body has simply stopped cooperating the way it once did, if belly fat won't budge and your energy and sleep feel broken, understand that your biology has genuinely shifted beneath you, and that's precisely why Sculptor exists, walking you through working with your changing biology rather than against it. Joining costs just $97 monthly, cancelable anytime, giving you access to myself, my entire medical team, and a full community of women supporting each other through this exact journey. Click link below. It's the first item in the description, and take your first step into Sculptor today. Then subscribe and stay tuned for my next video breaking down the top 10 foods that specifically target dangerous visceral fat around your organs. Because remember, keep putting one foot in front of the other, especially on days you don't feel like it.